I live stream all my classes. What does that mean? Well, it means that I record everything. It's streamed. So if something happens, how many of y'all have jobs outside of school? Yeah. Or you have something else, either activities and things. Life happens. You can't control what's happening tomorrow. So your boss may say, hey, I need you tomorrow because nobody's showing up. I need you. And you need the money to survive. I understand that, which is why I do this. If you can't make the class, or if you have car trouble. Like yesterday, I had one person had car trouble, and two people had to go. One person had to go to the hospital themselves. One person had to take the family member to the doctor. So again, you can't control what happens. So this is why I live stream everything. You can watch this lecture and participate live from wherever you are around the world, or you can wait till after the class is finished, and I will send the recording and all the notes we take during class. I'll send it to everybody. So the reason I do that is because, think about it. How much time do you spend in a class taking notes? The whole class, don't you? And when you're writing, does the teacher stop and wait till you're finished? No. So when you're writing, the class is moving forward. So you're missing really everything they're saying after that. That's not fair to you, which is why everything I write down, you don't have to do it. I will give it to you. So all you have to do is put side notes or anything that sounds important to you, and when we do examples, put those down. So I'm trying to take that stress away from you so that you can concentrate on learning this stuff instead of taking notes. And again, in this class, you can never be absent, because either in person, online, or watch the video, you'll participate in the class one way or the other. Synchronously is when you watch it online. Asynchronously is if you're watching the video recording of it later on. The worst thing about that is if we have an activity in class for like bonus points and things, then you can't get bonus points. You can participate, but online you can answer the questions, but I watched the video, but you can't get points. How many of you are familiar with Kahoot? I like to use that every now and then for review sessions. Like when we get ready for a test, we'll play a game to see. I use that so I can see what everybody knows. And I also use it as a chance to give you guys some bonus points. Whoever wins the Kahoot game will get like 8 points added onto their grade. Whoever gets second place gets 6. Whoever gets third gets 4. Everybody else gets 2 for participating. So if you can't make it to class when we have the review session and you have to watch the video, you're just out 2 points, which I'm sorry, but again, I have to reward everybody who's participating in the live class sessions. But don't feel bad about that, because there are other ways of getting bonus points for a test. And we'll get to that when we look at the syllabus. All right, so we come over here, go to the syllabus. This put it on the all right. This is, oops, I took out. No, there's college calculus 2413, calculus 1. In the first part, here's, if you haven't registered for Remind, here's the information. If this doesn't help work for you, you just click this and it'll walk you through it. If you want to watch the class or participate online from home, this is the link to this class. Actually, this is the link to all our meetings. Let's say you have a question and we can't answer it by texting. Then what we're going to do is say, let's meet up on Zoom in 10 minutes. You'll come over here, click this, and you'll go to the class, and then we'll discuss your question in real time online, no matter where you are. So again, I mean, how many times have you had a question and you had to send an email and wait till the person responds, and this is just texting, and that's not way. There's no way to learn calculus or anything really. With this, it's going to be exactly the same as if you're in class. If you ask me in class, if you have a question, and you'll see me write it down. So, and I mean, what this thing is right here is this is my, this is what you'll see. Okay, everybody take out a piece of paper real quick. Answer that without a calculator. So when you come into class, I hate to sound like high school or elementary school. When you come to class, the first thing you should do is take out your notebook. And instead of sitting there playing on your cell phones, you should be reviewing your notes. Because I reserve the right also at any time to have a pop quiz. Pop quizzes will always be over the previous day's information. So unless you know it all already, then don't come in here and just play on your cell phone. There's plenty of times to waste your time later on doing that later on. So what y'all get for this? I mean, there's no wrong answer just yet. Anybody else? Anything else? Good. Because yesterday I got somebody who got a 0. Don't ask me how. They couldn't answer it either. So one of these or both of these are wrong. Let's see. I can tell you how you got both of these. Those of you who got one used this, right? In all of my classes, I never want to hear that word again. Americans are the ones who use that, and it's wrong. Case in point, it's wrong. The rest of the world uses that. PEMDAS, what does that stand for? Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. BEDMAS is pretty much similar to this. Instead of parentheses, they use brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. But both of those are wrong. Both of those are wrong. Because the only thing you should know how to do is order of operations. Because why is it only exponents and parentheses or brackets? Where's the absolute value? Where's the square roots? And in this class, we're going to learn these symbols. The integral, the derivative. Where are all these symbols in these things? So get away from these. There are only 3 steps in mathematics. Special operations, Special operations. What do special operations mean? Parentheses, brackets, exponents, absolute values, factorials, derivatives, integrals, line integrals, and so on and so forth. There are over 400 symbols we use in mathematics. So any of these strange symbols, those go under special operations. After you do special operations, you do multiplication and division. And thirdly, the last things you should have left, only addition and subtraction. These are the order of operations. It's an algorithm. It's a program of how to solve math equations. Mathematics. Okay, what is mathematics to you all? What is mathematics? If you have to, if somebody asks you what is mathematics, how would you define it to them? I know it's something you need to graduate, but how would you define mathematics? Just rules? It is rules. Yes, it's chock full of rules. It's full of rules. It's full of properties. It's full of postulates. It's full of theorems. So yes, all that stuff. What it is, mathematics is it's a philosophy of logic. It's a language. Don't believe me? What does this mean? What does that symbol there mean? What does that mean? Absolute value of x. Again, it's in our language. We know what that symbol means. 3. So this is a language. It's called a sentence. How do you read a sentence? Left to right. But it was if you closed your eyes and I said 6 divided by 3 times 2, your brain translates those words into those symbols. So language is a symbolic representation. Now, since we read left to right on these order of operations, each of these are in the same level of importance. All the special operations, all of these are equally important. Both of these are equally important. Both of these are equally important. It just so happens as when you read left to right, are there any special operations here? No. So there goes that. Are there any multiplication divisions? Yes. So we go left to right. What do we get to first? A division. What is 6 divided by 3? And bring down everything else. Okay, repeat the process. Any special operations? No. Any multiplication division? Yes. 2 times 2 is 4. And that's the answer. That's an algorithm. It's a process on how we solve math problems. And next week, all of my classes, not just this one, but all of my classes, I don't care if it's calculus 3, differential equations, or developmental math. I always start the first day off with a review of the rules and properties of algebra. The main reason is because people have become so spoiled by calculators. You'll find out that the calculators won't do much good here. It'll help you get some of the numbers, but the rest of the stuff you have to know yourself. So in this class, we're going to learn calculus. What is calculus? You signed up for it. What is it? That's what's inside there. Yeah, it deals with functions, but you also do functions in algebra. That's when you first are introduced to it. So it's not, it has to do with functions. Basically, if you want to sum it down, calculus is nothing more than turbo algebra. Because all you'll see, I've pointed out to you many times, that calculus, if you have an equation, calculus is simply the first step. Calculus starts the ball rolling. After that, it's all algebra and trig. And that's what it's interesting once you look at it that way, because if you had to have taken algebra and trig to get here and pre-calculus. So that's if you understood those, this class will be easy. It's just I'm going to show you shortcuts to do things using calculus. But you need to know how to do things algebraically. So that is why we start off with the first day of class. Next week, we're going to do the rules of order of operations and things. And then if you look at also on your assignments, we'll also have an algebra review test and an algebra trig and a calc review test type stuff. Because I'm not going to grade it. I just want to see where everybody's at. Because not everybody took the same teacher last semester. Some of you are repeating this course. So don't feel bad. It's just I just want to see where everybody is and get everybody on the same page, because I want everybody to start off equally in this class. The way I teach is, I teach the way I wish I would have been taught. In other words, when I lecture, I'll have the topic, I'll have an example, and here's my page. And on the side here, I'm going to have the steps. Step 1, what do you do? Step 2, because that's all there is to these things, like we did here. Step 1, any special ops? No. Step 2, any multiplication division? And all of mathematics is done that way. So once you identify the type of question that you have, then you can go to the specific step-by-step procedures that we went through. So that's the way I teach. And then we'll go through a bunch of examples. And some of the examples will be algebraic, some of them will be trigonometric. But how you move these things around is all the basic rules of math. And sometimes, not always, what I would do when we have a bunch of examples, I may call somebody from the audience to come up here and do the work for us. Don't feel bad. If you get stuck, I'll be next to you. I'll walk you through it. Because when I'm doing something, it'll look easy. Because I'm gonna give you the proper hints and everything. But I want to see where it comes if I don't say anything, if I let you guys do it yourself. And when we do examples and stuff, I strongly suggest you guys work in pairs or in small groups. Answer each other's questions. And if you guys have a question, then ask me in class. Or if you're online, you can ask a question over your computer and it'll come over the speakers. All right, so don't feel bad. Or you could type me a message and send it to me if you're doing it online. All right, so but again, and then after that person comes up here, does it, I'll let them choose somebody else from the audience. So everybody will at least have one chance to come up here and show me what they know. I don't do that to embarrass everybody. I just want to see what you know and how you think of things. Because I guarantee you this, in this room, when we do stuff and talk about things, you're going to know it all. It's going to seem so simple to you. But the second you put a foot outside that door, guess what happens to all that stuff? It goes. It stays in this room. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. I have experienced it numerous times. You get home, you open your book, and say, we didn't cover this. Yeah, we did. It just looks different now. So we'll do as many as we can. Okay. So if you want to participate online, or if we're going to do a Zoom meeting, we use this. For the next 16 weeks, I'm here for you. That's the reason I use the Remind app. How many of y'all are not familiar with Remind? Remind is a communication app. Because think about it. How far is your cell phone from you right now? Yeah, 2 or 3 feet. When you go to bed, go to sleep, where is that cell phone? Right next to you on the table, or on the bed with you, next to you under the pillow. When you go to bed, where is it? It's next to you. When you go to the bathroom, I hate to say it, but take you with it. You take it with it. Only time you don't is when you shower, but it's still 5 feet away. So that's the reason I use Remind. Do not send me questions over emails. Do not send me questions through the My Math Lab, My Lab Math, because emails are only good once I get to my emails and read them. The same goes with the My Math Lab questions, but that's even more complex because once I go in there, I have to sort through all of these files to find out where the question is. So if you send me a message on Remind, it goes straight to my cell phone. Those little beeps you heard earlier, that's somebody sending me a message. Either they registered for Remind or they had a question. I will try to respond to your question almost instantaneously, unless I'm otherwise preoccupied. Even when I go out to dinner with my wife, I will have my phone there, and if a student has a question, I will answer it there if it doesn't take that long. Because if I said most of you guys work, if you're taking time to do your homework and you have a question, that's not fair. If you have to send an email, you have to wait till tomorrow to get an answer because you just wasted the rest of your evening. If you're doing your work at 9 o'clock at night and you have a question, the faster you get an answer, the sooner you can start finishing and go on further with your homework. So I don't care if it's even Sunday, Saturday or Sunday. If you work late shift and you want to meet, if you can't figure out the question and the answer or how it got the answer, and you want to meet on Zoom, if you want to meet, I don't care if you get off work at 2 o'clock in the morning. If you want to meet then, give me a heads up so I could budget my time so I could be on Zoom at 2 o'clock in the morning. When we had the COVID, I've had students from Africa, international students who were taking my calculus courses. I met with them at 2, 3, 4 in the morning because we had a 7, 8 hour time difference. I don't mind doing that. I'm here for you guys. And I'm sorry for your classes when teachers say, over the weekend, I won't respond to, I may look at it or not. That's not fair to you guys. I'm here for you guys for 16 weeks. All right. Now, we'll talk about what the thing is. I'm also going to give you other things. Besides giving you the notes and the videos from the lectures, I will give you the notes and videos from the solution sets. And I'll show you what I mean by that a little later. So here are my 2 calculus. One's face-to-face, one's online. So there's in my classes, if you want to take a face-to-face course and I offer it, take it. If you want to take an online course, sign up for my face-to-face, do it online. It's kind of like a hybrid course. So it's just that they can't give me all my classes as being online. So I tell my students, tell your friends, yourself, if you want to take an online course and my other one's full, sign up for my face-to-face and do it online. So important dates. Certification date is the 19th. What is certification? That is where I tell the state that you are participating in the class you signed up for. Because if you're getting financial aid, then they want to know, are we paying for somebody to be in class, or are we just paying for somebody to take the money and run? So you have to participate. You have to be certified in my class, you have to take the syllabus test and the Remind test. We'll talk about those in a second. And you have to do the first homework assignment. with a 70 or above. Once I see all that, then on that day I certify you as being present in class, and then you get your financial aid. If not, then I say never attended, and I put that in there, and they take it. They either drop you from financial aid or not, or decrease your financial aid amount. So it's very, very important. And it's also the way the school knows who's active in class instead of just signing up. And but students used to sign up for a bunch of classes, get financial aid, never show up, get F's everywhere, and then sign up for the same courses next semester and just get money for free and never worry about it. And the government's getting tired of that. So listen, if we're paying you to go to school, you're going to school by financial aid. So that's what that's all about. The last day to withdraw without a grade is the 29th of this month. Or if you say that you can't do the course of material, or if I'm a jerk and everything, you don't like me, you're gonna drop the course, you have to do it by that day. Because after that day, you have until the 12th of April to drop with a grade. In other words, what that means, you'll get a W, but if you're failing the course, you get a WF. If you're making a C, you'll get a WC. So you'll have a grade that goes with that failure, with that withdrawal. I mean, we're also going to have 2 progress report periods in this semester. Progress reports are simply that. They're an indication to tell you whether you're where you're supposed to be or if you're falling behind. And that's why I don't give a letter grade. I give either S for satisfactory, meaning you're where you're supposed to be. If in lecture we're talking about chapter 3, section 2, and you're at chapter 3, section 1, it's satisfactory. You're in chapter 3 at least. But if you haven't even started chapter 2 yet, you're falling behind. You're unsatisfactory. It's just lighting the fire under your butt, saying, "Listen, catch up. We're moving on." And the longer you wait, the harder it's going to get to catch up. Just think about it. Is the stuff in chapter 4 going to be easier in chapter 2? No, it's progressively going to get more difficult. So the more you stay on track, the easier it's going to be connect all the pieces. All right, so that's what we use the progress reports for. Note, working ahead is strongly encouraged. In other words, if we're talking about chapter 2, section 1 in class, and if you're in chapter 2, section 3, great. That's even better, because that way you understand where everything I talk about, you will know. I may add some more stuff in there that you didn't know that solidifies your understanding. And you'll have better questions to ask if you didn't understand some parts in there. So working ahead, even if we're going to talk about chapter 1, section 1 to Monday or Tuesday, and you tried it, you at least have some questions. I didn't get this. I understand this topic, but what if this? What am I not getting it? So that's always encouraged. In this class, all my classes, I also give the students the chance, if they want to work on their own and want to finish the class. I had students finish the class in 2 weeks. I have online, I will upload it, previous semesters, lecture notes, lectures videos, solution notes, solution videos. So you'll have access to previous semesters. Calculus is calculus, the same topics. The only thing different is the way I present it. So, but it's going to be the same material. If you want to watch the videos from a previous semester and work ahead, you're more than welcome to do that. But in this class, I'll send you only that day's or that week's videos and notes. And if you want to move ahead, more power to you. I said, I've had students who took a lot of courses and finished my class within the first half of the semester so they can concentrate on the other classes on the second half of the semester. All right. Here's your outcomes, what the state expects you're going to learn from this thing. Solve related rates, linearization, differential equations, differential processes. And teach you critical thinking, communication skills, blah, 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 blah. Your book is included in your MyMathLab account. But again, you don't need it because my job is to take what's in that section of the textbook and translate it to English. Because if it was so easy reading math, everybody would be doing it. So if you, yeah, again, you can read it if you want to, but it may get confusing. So I take all that stuff and put it into motion. Okay, so that's my job. Technology requirements. All you really need is a computer where you can access the internet and do your work online. Have a video camera, preferably. If not, then we'll get a little cheap one, like $15-20 one from Best Buy or Walmart. And a microphone and speakers, so you can communicate. That's really all you really need. Don't go out and buy a calculator for this class, because on your computer, if you type in calculator down here on the search bar, you'll get a calculator. Let me show you. This calculator does everything: graphing, programming, data collection, all these other things. So the calculator you have on your computer does everything you need. And we'll just need scientific, because all these operations here, logarithms, natural logs, common logs, exponentials, absolute values, all these, that's all we're going to be using in this course anyway. So grades, this is the one thing you're worried about. You have two tests: syllabus tests and a remind test. Don't sweat it. We're going to cover this, but typically all I request there is read the syllabus, because I used to have tests that were online, but because of transferring to new system, it gets destroyed each time. And I get tired of going through and fixing it all the time. So all I'm saying here is, for the syllabus test, read the syllabus and understand it. The remind test is just that: is register for remind and send me a message saying that you've read and understand the syllabus. And you get hundreds for both of those. Pretty easy. You have your homeworks. The average of all your assignments, homework assignments, will be 1 grade. Now, notice, I include also the course supplement material, like the videos and the textbook and stuff like that. Those are under a tab called material. Those also give you a grade, but I delete those, because that's not work. That's just watching a video or looking at the book. So, but that's the only way I could put it in the workload, so you can see it before you do the section. So you only get grades for the material that says homework, or the stuff you have to work out. Anything you don't do, I put a 0 in there, because right now the way it's set up is, if you didn't do any homework, your average would be 100, because it gives you credit for everything there. It only changes the grade if once you attempt it, which is wrong. But if I put zeros in there already for the entire semester for all your homework, and it changes as you do them, and you made 100 on the first homework assignment and the rest are zeros, your average is 0.03 or 0.01. So it's not a good representation. You're discouraged. So I just leave the grades as they are, and to figure out your average is see where you are, add up all those grades for the homeworks, and divide by how many assignments there are. It's pretty straightforward. That's your grade for that point. That's what I'm gonna do for the report cards. We'll have chapter tests, chapter 2, 3, 4, and chapter 5 tests. Each test is worth 100 points. So you have a maximum of 400 points there. And then we're going to talk about this is a comprehensive final exam is a lot better, because it makes you review everything you did over the semester. But it's more stress and pressure on the student. I did a couple of classes, like my mini sessions, is where instead of taking the final exam, I simply take the average of all your test scores, and that's your final exam. But again, that doesn't prepare you to see what you really know in the course. And we'll talk about that, how you guys want to do it. Because yeah, easy grade would be the average of your tests, but to get you ready for Calculus 2, taking a final exam to make sure you really understand it, we'll have an exam at the end of the semester. But don't stress there. It's like an infomercial. I will give you an infinite number of tries at your homework. Everything's done online. All your tests, your homeworks, everything's done online. I will keep the best score of your homeworks. So if you made a 90 on your first homework assignment and you know you made some bonehead errors, go back and do it again and get 100. Or if you made an 80, try it again, do it better, get a 90, 92, 94, or whatever. Same with the tests. I'll give you 3 tries on each test. I'll keep the best score. I do this so students are not pressured to cheat. Students are pressured to cheat because if I only give you 1 chance at a grade, that's putting pressure on you that's not necessary. So if you're not sure of yourself, you only have 1 chance to get a grade, then you're going to do everything you can to benefit yourself, hence the cheating. But if I give you multiple attempts, then you have time to see how much you know, see what you have to practice, take it again. If you need more tries, tell me. I'll increase the number of tries. One class, it was some student asked me 6 times. I think I could do better. Let me have another try. So you have at least 3 tries on your test. Do not cheat. I'm going to have you guys all fill out an honesty form anyway for the course. Since everything's done online, I'm going to have you all sign this thing saying that you're going to take it honestly without cheating, without having any computer software do the work for you, and or any artificial intelligence, things like that. So I do that simply because if you cheat and make an A in my course and take a Calculus 2 class from somebody else and you fail miserably because you didn't know anything from Calculus 1, I want to be able to show them, no, it wasn't my fault. They said that they didn't cheat, and obviously they cheated. Because there's no way you can fail Calculus 2 if you passed Calculus 1 with an A. Because all it is picking up from where we left off and move on. So, again, and it's also not going to do you any good by cheating, because eventually, if anybody here's an engineering major or computer programming or it's a technology major, you're going to be tested daily on your math skills. And you won't have the luxury of, well, let me get my calculator out on my cheat sheet. Calculus 1, Calculus 2, Calculus 3 stuff, that's simply the beginning. If you're going to go to engineering, you're going to have to take differential equations, linear algebra, complex analysis, real analysis. Those all leave calculus in the dirt. But you need these to go onto there. So don't cheat. I'd much rather see students get C's and B's and show me what they really know. That way I can help you for the final exam instead of seeing everybody make 90s and 100s and not know anything. Because if I can, and that's what I do. That's what, again, that's what in class, when we do examples, I may call some of y'all come up here, do this example for me. We had homework assignments, do this for me. You made 100 on the homework assignments, you should be able to do it again. And if I see a lot of people who make hundreds on homework assignments and can't do the work in class, then guess what? Our final exam is not going to be online. It's going to be face-to-face right here, where you only have 1 try to finish it. So, again, all it takes is 1 bad apple to ruin the whole bundle. So I'm holding each one of you responsible for everybody else. Don't cheat. You're going to screw it up for everybody. Again, the syllabus is only a plan. I can change it at any time. Whenever I change it, I have to tell you guys and send a message out to everybody. I change the syllabus. No longer are tests online, they're in class, or you have to go to the proctoring center, and stuff like that. And then you only have one chance to do it. So again, don't ruin what I'm trying to give you guys. Yes, certification policy. You have to take um, the syllabus and remind test and finish the first section homework with a 70 or better. Late work, I'm glad you asked. There is no late work because even though you'll see down here, these are all the topics we're going to discuss in this class. You'll see here that chapter 2 is due by this, chapter 3 tests is chapter 4, chapter 5, and you have it here. Again, since life happens and people learn at different paces, I only have one deadline. 11:59 p.m. May 9th, the last day, the last minute of the semester. Whatever's not turned in by then turns into a 0. So do not do what people try to do in the past, is wait to the last week of class and say, listen, I've been swamped with work. I was sick. I was blah, 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 and I can't finish the work. Can I have more time? No. I'm telling you right now, no. Any request for more time at the end of the semester is automatically denied right now. You know what you have to do. You know how long you have to do it. It's even right here. We're going to cover one topic pretty much a day in class. That's not too fast, except in this section. That's pretty much one-sided limits and continuity goes together, so I'm not worried about that. But everything else is one section covered each week, each class period. Everything is due by the last minute of the last day of the semester. So I even put these grade forms. So when you take you can put hundreds here and whatever it's online, you can take the algebra review. And as you do these, you could put the grade down so you know exactly what you have. You see it all the time. It's always also going to be online on MyMathLab, but here you can calculate what your average is, what your grade is at that time. And so if you want me to, I can print these sheets out for you, give it to you next time. Well, I'll do that anyway. I'll give it to you so that you can keep track of your grades. And it says here, disclaimer, this calendar, everything can be changed in the syllabus, but I have to give you immediate notice when I change something. So again, if I see everybody making hundreds on the homework assignments and tests, and when I ask you questions in class and you can't answer it, that gets me pretty upset. Liars, cheats, and thieves do not last long in my classes. Any questions so far? Not yet? It's, I don't want to use it as grade. I may use it as bonus. Everybody's supposed to do it. You have to do it. But I need to see what everybody knows. And that's typically the one where after everybody finishes, you'll bring the work, and then we'll talk about it in class. And that's why I usually have the students come up here and do the work. Here's question 1, and you'll have to hear and work it out. You leave your work on your desk. You try to do it here. And I don't want you to embarrass you. Again, if you get stuck, I realize that at home, doing the homework, you have a lot more time to do it. You have your resources and everything. So When you do it up here, I will walk you through if you get stuck. But if it's a chronic condition and every time you can't do it, you can't even get started, then we have things to talk about. But you should at least know how to get started in the homework assignments. Or if you get stuck and you can't do it, then tell me straight up, I didn't understand this, so I can't do it. But again, it's algebra and trig stuff. You should be able to do it. And there are YouTube videos and everything else out there that you refer to. I'm also going to give you have access to cheat sheets. Cheat sheets are formula sheets. Because once we cover a procedure or a formula, like hyperbolic tangents, how to derive it. Once we do that, you have it in your notes, the steps and everything, then you don't have to memorize it. It's going to be there on the sheet. You just look at it and put it down. That becomes very, very, very handy when we talk about integrals. Instead of memorizing all the trigonometric integration rules. In my days in my graduate school, we used to have a book this big of nothing but tables and derivatives and integrals, all the formulas, all the shortcuts. We had to refer to that. Once we get it, we just refer to it. Once you learn it, you know how it is, where it came from. You don't have to memorize it. But the more you use it, the better it becomes. All right. Let's see here. Where else am I? Oh. So when you look at your class, when you log on to eCampus, you'll be here at My Lab Math. You can either look at all your assignments at one time, which is the homework assignments, the tests, and the practice tests, or you can separate them separately. Just look at only homework assignments. You can see what you made so far and what you need, and the tests and quizzes. So algebra review, it is going to come up as a grade. But again, we're gonna work on it also in class as we go along. So again, I want everybody to do it. It's in there, it's part of the grade. So but it's not counted as an exam, it's counted as a homework grade. Even though it is practically an exam. And you see here, you have media. The media are just those. These are the videos of each of these small parts. I'll be doing the same thing. If you want to watch these, you're more than welcome to. But again, if these are not mandatory. The reason I say that is because if you look at this, the media also has a score on the grade. If you don't look at anything in there, it gives you a 0. If you watch the videos, you get 100. That's the reason all of these media ones, when I download the grades, I delete those. So the grade that this gives you is not accurate. Only grades that you should be recorded are the homework grades. So that's why I have that separate sheet. You can put your homework grades there, so you have a log of all your grades. You see here, I didn't talk about this because it wasn't on the syllabus, but it's here. Practice exams. These are not mandatory. These are quizzes, but they're not mandatory. Whatever score you get, 10% of that score, that grade, are bonus points on your test grade. So if you make an 85 on this practice test, how many points do you get? 8.5. Very good. See everybody else going, oh, crap. Get the calculator out. Yeah, pretty much just divide by 10, move the decimal over one left, and that's how many points you get. So if you get 8.5 free points, now on the test, if you made a 90 or 85, do you make a B or an A for the test? An A, because your 85 plus these 8 points now gives you an 83.5 or 93.5. So you now made an A. So again, these are not mandatory, but strongly encouraged to do them. Again, and I only keep the best scores. When it comes down here for the final exam, you have the same thing. You have a practice final exam, which is worth 20% of the score you make in there. Reason for that is because the final exam counts twice as much. It counts 200 points. So if you made an 80 on the practice exam, how many bonus points do you get? 16. Because 10% of 80 is 8 times 2 is 16. You get 16. So you get a whole letter grade increase just by doing a practice exam. And I got to change that. It's not infinite tries. You only get 2 tries at it. But you see here, these are students in the past that have asked me if I could increase the number of attempts at these tests. Those classes are great because I know they're honest there. So that's pretty important when it comes to that. Oh, yes. Also here, we get to the contents. We'll hear course videos. Here are your cheat sheets. Again, these are simply the formula sheets for the algebra and trigonometry and the rules of calculus. If you click on one of those, I know I should have rotated my forms. It'll give you a headache, so it'll give you a crick. So it helps if you print these out. But these are all the rules of everything that we're going to cover. Once we discuss it, instead of memorizing it, like the integral of cosine or the sine, you don't have to memorize it. It's right here. Everybody's like this. But yeah, so all of these things, you see we're going to cover all these things. And here's your trigonometric, your identity table for your trig, the graphs of each of the functions, the sum rules, sine plus cosine, cosine. So all this stuff. And this, again, I don't know who taught you trig or your pre-calculus class stuff. We're going to review on how to do this, how to read this, how to memorize. So basically, do you think you have to memorize all 4 quadrants worth of information? No. All you do is memorize this quadrant. Only thing that changes are the signs. If it's a horizontal change, it's the X changes. If it's a vertical, the Y changes. But everything else is the same. So again, you have access to all those already. And there's 2 of those. So if you print those out, you'll have access to all that. Also, in this course videos, I'm going to upload all of the videos and notes from my previous calculus class. So again, if you want to work ahead, you can watch those videos in chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5 when we get to them. You can watch them now if you want to. When we go over spring break, if you're an overachiever, you can finish another chapter. And that'll give you some free leadway on time you can have to yourself. So that once you finish it, you only participate in the class really is if you have any questions or if you want clarification. But if you don't show up to class and you haven't done the work, I'm sorry. I look at that stuff when students ask me questions. So I need to meet on Zoom meeting. Well, before you ask me for a Zoom meeting, I want to see how many times you've tried it yourself. I will see all that stuff on my screen. See how much time you've spent on there. And then if you've used any other resources. Before you contact me for anything, have you looked at the videos? Have you looked at the lecture video, the lecture notes, the solution videos, the solution notes? I work out everything step by step and explain to you what's going on. Did you look at those? It's not going to be the same question it's going to be similar question. Only thing different will be the numbers. So have you exhausted all those resources? Then, if you have questions, then ask me. But if it's a clarification, what does this mean? Then you can ask me questions on Remind. But don't contact me if you get stuck one time on one question. Oh, I need help. No. Learn how to learn. Learn how to learn. And that entails using all the resources you have. I'm giving you everything. And as a last resort, we can meet on Zoom. Okay? Get your cell phones out. So everybody's registered on Remind, right? Get your cell phones out. If not, again, that's the only way I communicate. I will send information. I'll send things on your Remind only. I'm not going to send it to your email. I'm not going to send it to your home UPS. I'm going to send it to you as an attachment on Remind. You can send it to wherever you want to. So if you haven't registered on Remind, do so. What I'm going to do now is this. Blah, hurry up. So, okay, that's 8 out of 8. And those of you on TV land, you can play also. Because there's one person who's online already. See, there's two. Those chairs move. You could, if you can't see, you could always move your chair. They rotate. What is a natural number? Yeah, it's counting numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. What's a whole number? It's the natural numbers that begin with a whole. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Integers are the positive, negatives, and zeros. What's a rational number? Fractions, yeah. So yes, these are all fractions, but so is 1/2, was 1/4, 5/9. So let's see who's got the. Still pretty close. Now, I like to use Kahoot every now and then when we do get ready for a test or get close to a test to see what everybody knows. This thing tells me on how many questions you got right, which ones you got wrong, and usually I reward the winners with either candy or points. Again, if you can't see, scoot over. Very good. I'm glad about that. And the worst thing about this is not only test your knowledge, but how fast you can answer it. No solution. This is an example of order of operations. Is there a special operation in there? Yeah, absolute value. So you do inside the absolute value first. What is the absolute value of negative 5? 5. So that means there's a negative in front, so it's a negative 5. Still no leader change. Mm. What's another way we could rewrite this is negative 28 over negative 7. Do we need the parenthesis there? Nothing happens, so we can drop out the parentheses. So that sign becomes negative 28. There's nothing in front of this one, so we don't need this parenthesis. Negatives cancel. How many times is 7 going to 28? Positive 4. Very good. When you do these type of problems, separate the signs from the numbers, from the operations. Is the answer going to be positive or negative? And why? What's that? Why? Right. Negatives, anytime there's an even number of negatives, negative is a positive. So if there's an even number of negatives, the answer is going to be positive. So that means automatically all the negative answers are wrong. And then it's just a wild guess. I mean, you didn't have to do the work really, because you know that 5 times 4 is 20, 20 times 3 is 60. So it's going to be pretty big. So we know automatically that it can't be 15. It's 15 if you add them all together. But if you multiply them, then it's not. No change. Don't feel bad. In all my levels of math classes I teach, I ask students the same thing. What's the one thing that will ruin, that makes students' answers incorrect? If I'd never down, what's one thing that always gives you wrong answers? That little symbol right there. The negative symbol. Signs ruin students' days. This is no example. Or this goes with order of operations again. To begin with, let me say, this is a multiplication. This is actually -1 times 2. So what do we do first? This or that? Do we change the signs first, or do we do the exponents first? Exponents. Because this is multiplication. This is -1 times, you can't do that, because what this question really tells us is there are 3 -2s. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. So the answer is going to be positive. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. Very good. I didn't trick you. Again, what I just set up here. This is multiplication. This is exponents. Do I even need the parentheses? No, there's nothing in front of it. There's no exponent. So I don't even need the parentheses. What this thing says is I have 2 3s. So -1 times 9 is -9. And no using calculators for these things. Thirty seconds. Five seconds. This is the same spread I had in my other classes. Don't feel bad. This is a perfect example of order of operations. PEMDAS doesn't work here, does it? Nope. All right. We have special ops, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Reading left to right. Are there any special operations? Well, here's a parenthesis. Can we do anything inside the parenthesis? What is 4 minus 8? Yeah. 8's bigger than 4. It's negative, so the answer would be negative. 8 minus 4 is 4. Repeat the process. Special operations, left to right. We can't do anything inside that one. We can't do anything inside that one. We can't do anything, but there's an exponent. Here's when we got to do this one. So what is negative 5 squared? 25. A positive 25. Because what this thing says, it's negative 5 times negative 5. Makes it a 25. Repeat the process. Special operations. Can't do anything inside there. Can't do anything inside there. No exponents, no special operations. So that's it for that. Are there any multiplication divisions? Yes. 28 divided by negative 4. What is 28 divided by negative 4? Is it positive or negative? Negative. 28 divided by 4 is repeat the process. No special operations. Here's the multiplication. Negative 7 times 2. Positive or negative? Negative. There's only one negative. 7 times 2 is 14. Repeat the process. No special operations. Multiplication. Here's a division. Negative 12 divided by 3. So it's, is it going to answer going to be positive or negative? Negative. Because negative 12 divided by 3. Answer would be negative. 12 divided by 3 is 4. No special operations. No multiplication division. So addition and subtraction. Negative 14 minus 4. They're both negative, so the answer is negative. 14 plus 4 is 18. No special operations, no multiplication. And so now we add, subtract. The signs are different. Take the sign of the larger number. The answer is going to be positive. 25 minus 18. Don't feel bad if you had difficult with this. It's not your fault. You probably were taught using calculators to do this. This is actually how computers do the work. It does exactly the same thing. It has a program. It goes through. Are there any special operations? And it repeats itself. Again, don't feel bad. What does reciprocal mean? And opposite means something totally different. Opposite means the opposite of 3 is negative 3. That's opposite. The reciprocal means flip. It's just a fancy word. So 3/5 becomes 5/3. It doesn't change signs. Again, mathematics is a language. You have to use the appropriate language. If you said opposite, then all it would be is -3/5. It wouldn't be 5/3. It's 5/12 times 7/25 times 15/7. No calculators. Twenty seconds. Originally, for this question, I was simply going to say, what is the product of 5/12, 7/25, and 15/7? What does this instruction tell us? What does product mean? Multiply. Yeah. So if I would give you this question here, you would have had to rewrite it as that. So now, how do you solve these type of questions? Before you multiply in when we divide multiplication fractions, never multiply first. When you're multiplying fractions, always reduce first. So the first thing we're going to do with all of these is simplify them. What is 5 made up of? 5 times 1. What's 12 made up of? 3 times 4 times 7. What's 25 made up of? 5 times 5. What's 15 made up of? 3 times 5. Now, anything on top with anything on the bottom can cancel. So what's the answer? 1/4. The most common mistake students give is since there's only a 4, the answer is 4. No, it's on the bottom. There's a 4 on the bottom. Everything's gone on top, so there's a 1. 1/4. Okay, you're pulling away. Pretty good. 9/32 divided by 3/8. 15 seconds. Quotient means what? Means division or fraction. The rule for dividing fractions, because this equation could also look like this. They're both the same thing. The rule is take the first or the top one, leave it alone. Change the division to multiplication and flip the second or the bottom one. So we change it from a division to multiplication. Now the rule of multiplication is reduce first, then multiply. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 8 goes into 32 4 times. Now you multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 1 is 4. The answer is 3/4. I noticed that I had 7 answers up on the board already. And then for the last like 30, 40 seconds, people are still working it out. Don't guess on these things. Don't tell me the answer until you worked it out. Unless it's a super, super simple one. 2/3. Of means multiply. Is what? This is fractions. This is 45/1. 45 is the same thing as 9 times 5. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So we have 2 times 3 is 6 times 5 is 30/1. Let's do one more. 16 over 20, all that squared. Twenty more seconds. Simplify first. 16 is made up of what? 4 times 4. 20 is made up of 4 times 5. These two simplify, they cancel. So I can distribute that. So I have 4 squared over 5 squared. I know it. You guys are coming off of vacation, Christmas break, and everything. But it's important that you remember all the rules of math, all the stuff, and that's why on Tuesday of next week we're going to go through the rules of math, the properties of math, just to go through all these things, get the cobwebs out of your heads, and so let's see. Ooh, that's pretty close. That's like one question. So typically what I would do here is that if this is like for getting ready for a test, I'd give the winner 8 points, the second place 6 points, third place 4, everybody else 2. Or I'd give the top 3 candy. So again, it's important that you stay current and stay fresh with this stuff. Five correct answers in a row. You know what that means? That means everybody else didn't have 5 in a row. Very good, Ivan. All right, everybody, any questions? Oh, one last comment. Things while you're in this class, try to refrain from texting or anything like that. As you're in here for an hour, I won't remember. We're only doing one topic a day. Once we finish that topic and any questions, I'll let you go. So in other words, it'll be very rarely we stay the full hour and 20 minutes. I know you guys can refrain from texting those important internationally important text messages you guys send to each other. So in class, if you want to do that, then just stay home and watch it online and text all you want. But if you're in here, please give me the respect of staying in class and participating. All right. I mean, I mean, as we go on further, I'll let this will slide. But right now, I want to make sure everybody's on the same page and nobody's distracted. Any questions? So that's pretty much how the class is going to go. Is I will lecture everything, and I'll send you I'll make a PDF of this. I'll wait till this becomes a video and I'll send it to y'all. And that's why I'll do that every day from here on out for our class notes. All right. If there aren't any questions,